Out of all of the other rank up videos on this channel, you may realize that we've never really covered both bronze and silver, and that is because these ranks are so drastically different compared to any other ranks in the game. The way you play the game and the problems you run into in these ranks are so much different than those you run into in gold and above. After coaching for nearly 2 years now, through reviewing players stuck in this rank, the common problem is not simply that they themselves are making mistakes, since that is just a really common thing in this rank in general. It is more of the fact that they are just not carrying hard enough. It is no secret that teammates just are not cutting it at this rank. You cannot trust that your tank is going to be making space, your DPS are going to be killing things, or your supports are even going to be able to heal you. So you cannot just sit back and hope that your team is going to make it work for you. You have to get in there and do it yourself, which might sound hard, but it is definitely doable at these ranks more than others. Keep in mind that you probably are making mistakes on the character you are playing still though. You might still be messing up Suzu's on Kiriko or wasting your resources on Moira, and that is still something you have to fix. The problem I see often when giving this advice, however, is that it is just not enough, because even if I am blue beaming the right DPS at the right time as Mercy, if the teammate is just not hitting their shots, it does not matter if I am playing correctly per se. So recognize when games are out of your hands when playing by the book, and learn when it is time for you to buckle down and change your playstyle to carry. Before we discuss this in detail though, it is important to assess where your mechanics are as a player. If you are really looking to climb out of lower elos fast, having inconsistent aim is the last problem you want to have. If you struggle with this, don't fret, there are a lot of really easy ways to improve at this pretty fast. The code I specifically use in game is called VAXTA, which essentially puts you in front of bots that you can practice shooting against without dying. I strongly recommend using this for 5 minutes a day to work it into habit, and then slowly climbing your way back up to half an hour a day. Trust me, this works wonders. Now let's talk about each role in particular and talk about how you should play until the games become a bit more coordinated in gold, for example. As the tank, it is important that you understand your team is not always going to follow you, and the space you create will likely never be followed up upon at this rank, specifically after the first fight. Because of this, you need to find a tank that you have an easy time finding solo value on. To be honest, it does not matter what character is considered strong given the time, just that you are comfortable taking down targets by yourself. A great example of a character that can do this is Roadhog. While he likely will not be super powerful at higher elos given an incoming patch the devs are hinting at, he will still always be strong in lower elos where players do not rotate effectively together, leaving themselves out of position for consistent easy picks via your hook. On top of this, his vape allows for you to heal yourself if your supports are just not keeping up with you, making him the #1 pick in my opinion. Some players have a difficult time hitting hooks, and there are other options like Orisa who does good damage with a lot of survivability options, but to be completely honest, in this new game, every tank can carry pretty consistently with their damage and health pools. It just comes down to being efficient with your mechanics, so if you're struggling, make sure to use code VAXTA when applicable. DPS really comes down to the same ideas as we talked about previously, but mechanics become even more important. I find that Soldier 76 is the most solid pick for most players to get up to ranks where other picks are more consistent. This is because he can deal with the popular Pharah Mercy combo found in this rank consistently, has decent flank potential, and can also heal himself on the fly, which is very helpful when supports are just not there to help. If Soldier isn't your style, the general thing I look for is sustainability within their health pools, so characters like Mei and Tracer are also good options to run through these ranks on DPS. It all just comes down to hitting your shots and winning duels when applicable. To be completely honest, however, you can really play any character in bronze and silver and run the lobby as DPS, especially in the new game. I just find it easier for players that are working on their mechanics to pick sustainable characters that work consistently. Of course, a Plat Diamond Genji will roll the lobbies in bronze and silver, but the same is not true if you are just starting out on that character in that rank. Support is the most interesting role to cover because you'll see the most drastic swap in playstyle as you climb, at least in the current meta. While Kiriko might play like a heal bot in top 500 lobbies, in bronze and silver it all means nothing if your DPS are not taking out the enemy. Because of this, you'll find that being a bit more aggressive on support will work wonders. This is why the #1 mistake that lower level Ana players are making is not using their nade aggressively to find offensive value. This causes their team to be stuck without any momentum to propel the fight forward in your favor. Healing your teammate that is missing all of their shots does not do anything in an FPS game at the end of the day. Now, this does not mean that you should avoid healing your team entirely, but understand when they really need it. That Orisa that took 10 damage will be fine. Don't waste your time and ammo on that. Instead, support your team by dealing damage to the enemy. After all, if the enemy is dead, they won't be able to kill your team. So if you are playing characters like Brigitte and Mercy very well for your rank, but you are still struggling in bronze, understand that maybe switching to a character that has more carry potential until you get to gold might be the play for you. Once the games get more serious, you will get punished for your mistakes on your worst characters, allowing for your prowess on these other characters to shine through. Now, the last tip I can give universally to players no matter the role in bronze and silver is to stop staggering and make sure that you take as many clean fights as possible. A clean fight is defined in short as an engagement where your entire team is involved without any stragglers. This is such a huge problem in bronze and silver, so make sure you mitigate it as much as possible. For example, if you are down 2 in a fight, making it a 3v5, and you do not see a way that you can easily turn it around, realize that the fight is lost and try to die on the objective or get out entirely instead of just standing around poking. What this does is set your respawn timer closer to your friendlies so that you can mitigate the problem of missing out on clean fights. Not everyone joins voice chat, especially at these ranks, so you do not always have the option to just tell people to wait up. The next best thing is to be aware of the problem and understand the steps you can take to avoid it. You never know, that one extra clean fight you take might just be the difference between a win and a loss. This guide is not perfect, and it is important that you understand that. You will run into many other problems as you climb throughout the ranks, but the reality of it is, in bronze and silver, if you can focus on your mechanics and being more efficient, you can and will carry. Concepts like positioning and frequent misuse of utility does not get punished at all, and if you are just a little bit better than your enemies, you will run the lobby. Do not rush things, practice aiming consistently in Vaxta, take clean fights as a team, and you will get to your goals in no time. If you really fall in love with a specific character in the process, I encourage you find a guide on them to further improve your climbing experience. I personally have made guides on all of the other supports except Kiriko, and I encourage you to check those out as well as other creators that make this type of content. If you have any questions or are looking for a duo to improve alongside, consider joining the Paz Nation Discord, as there are many players struggling with the same problems as you. Thank you all so much for watching, happy holidays, but until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.